Woo. Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Guys, where are we?
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. Enjoy your stay.
Previously on X-Men.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun, and we're back talking Wolverine comics. Yes, of course. Big surprise. We just finished doing Predator versus Wolverine #2. We've also just recently done Wolverine Revenge #1. We've done Deadpool and Wolverine, the new ongoing series from Ben Percy and Josh Cassara's #1. We just finished Deadpool and Wolverine, Wade Wilson the third, #3, to finish that series up, swinging back around to Wolverine Deep Cut #2 by Chris Claremont and Edgar Salazar, the second series from 2024 that Chris and Edgar worked on for the Year of the Bub. The first being the really entertaining Madripoor Nights series that put us back in that space of Uncanny X-Men 268, where Captain America, Black Widow, and Wolverine throughout two different time periods are taking on the Hand with a little help from Psylocke and Jubilee, who play very small roles in it, but it's a very fun look back at a forgotten corner of Wolverine and the X-Men's past. So Wolverine Deep Cut starts with Logan's birthday for a little bit of, like catch up here. And it's nice that Claremont's doing a birthday story, or at least starting at Wolverine's birthday story, where, as usual, Sabretooth comes after him. But since the world thinks the X-Men are dead, Sabretooth has chosen to go after his love, Mariko Yoshida. I'm always like afraid I'm going to say the wrong name because there's all these different names that I've got to remember from that era of Wolverine. I'm like, there's Yukio, but that's like the girl that like works with him, and then there's Mariko. It's two different things, two different, completely different words, and somehow I keep mixing them up. But since Wolverine is dead, or supposedly dead, Sabretooth's going after her, which comes to Sabretooth's surprise, but not really, that Wolverine is there to get in the way of that happening, because for her, he's going to make sure that like he can protect her, even if he has to expose himself to Sabretooth. But if Sabretooth talks, right, what happens? And in this brutal fight, we go over some of Wolverine's past. And at the end of this brutal fight, Wolverine does what he has to. He has to rise to the occasion. He has to take Sabretooth out. And he cuts his freaking head off. But this made Wolverine realize that this isn't the real Sabretooth. This guy went down too easy. And this was not an easy fight by any means if you look at the book, which leads him to believe that this is a clone of Sabretooth. And since Wolverine knows, if you want to know who's in the business of clones, it's Mr. Sinister. So this is sending Wolverine on a path to go after Sinister, because if he knows Wolverine's alive, again, he's sent this out there. Wolverine's got to go take care of it. He's been already offered to get help from Storm and all these other people, but like, again, the lone wolf is going to go out there and try to take on Sinister on his own. But also, Sabretooth's out there as well. If this isn't the real Sabretooth, where is he? He's been taken off the board. Who took him off the board? Did Sinister take him off the board? Sinister and Sabretooth have a long history, which is also brought up in the newest Sabretooth story, The Dead Don't Talk. I highly recommend checking out that book. I might talk about it on the channel once it's run its course. But I do recommend it if you like the history of Sabretooth or a history of Sabretooth. Now, to get to the book quicker, we're going to start reading it here in a second because I chose then to not read this until I read this with all of you guys out there. And then at the end, I'll give my final thoughts. So where we left off is Wolverine's just killed Sabretooth. Shadowcat and Yukio are protecting Mariko from anybody, and they don't even know that he's out there, but he knew that they were out there to help him. And that's where we're going to start our reading of this book in just a second. So without further ado, let's read Wolverine Deep Cut number 2, and then I'll give my final thoughts after. All right, so Wolverine Deep Cut number 2, as he's going to take on the Marauders all on his own, it looks like. Killer's Dawn, written by Chris Claremont, artist Edgar Salazar, color artist Carlos Lopez, letterer VC's Travis Lanham, and a whole bunch of other people that do variants. While the X-Men were hiding out in the Australian outback, Wolverine departed for reasons he wouldn't reveal, hoping to head off Sabretooth's tradition of killing Wolverine's loved ones to celebrate his birthday. Logan traveled to Japan to protect Mariko Yashida. Sabretooth arrived as expected, but Wolverine intercepted him in the woods outside the Yashida compound. Wolverine was gravely wounded in the battle, losing both of his eyes. The mangled I'm trying to read this. His eyes, but the mangled to kill Sabretooth. But he managed to kill Sabretooth only to discover that this wasn't Sabretooth at all, but a clone created by Mr. Sinister. Now he's resolved to deal with Sinister once and for all. And again, like I said, this is going to be a fun story, but I mean, Sinister's still around. You don't get rid of the boogeyman that way. But my fascination is how is Claremont going to write a really a good story that is believably, like, I don't know. I just really want to know how this is going to play out. I'm generally known as the Wolverine. Line I use to describe me is that I'm the best there is at what I do. But what I do best isn't very nice. Most folks see me as blunt force brutality. That's true. But it isn't right. At least not till the day my skeleton got wrapped head to toe with the unbreakable metal adamantium, with claws of pure metal to match. They changed everything. Because of all those add-ons, I weigh a whole lot more than I did then. Sure, I hit harder, but I ain't anywhere near as agile or as fast as I was before. This is also an interesting thing to bring up, is that this is like back when Wolverine was always just old. Like for a long time, he just always felt old and always like 1 second away from like dying. Which meant I had to find a way to cope. Folks I fight these days got used to that, but that won't work for me this time. Deep Cut, Part 2. 0.5 seconds. Likely be the hardest thing I've ever done. 1 second is reverse that process. And take my fighting style back to the way it was before the adamantium. But the time's come to take my shot. Nothing like a challenge. You're the best around! Especially since my last fight pretty near killed me. And yeah, he got his eyes ripped out, man. As you can tell. But I'm a mutant. Snicked. With the power to heal. Against wounds like these, even that takes time. Fortunately, so does training. That's what's happening now. Thing is, that last fight against a clone of my deadliest adversary, Sabretooth, was one-on-one. This'll be different. Me against the Marauders. They're a gang of killers. Mutants who specialize in killing mutants. Working for a goon calls himself Mr. Sinister. They love their job. First time the Marauders and X-Men crossed paths, folks called it the Mutant Massacre. Men, women, adults, babies, didn't matter. Marauders saw 'em, Marauders killed 'em. No hesitation, no mercy, and laughed to watch 'em die. Yeah, and that was like Mark Silvestri era, I want to say. Yeah. And yeah, it is a massacre, all right. Some of these guys are actually on more of a, at least Student Center. I always forget his name. Red Crow, I think. But yeah, I think he's more on a redemptive path these days. Some of the X-Men, my teammates, my friends, almost died in that fight. Nightcrawler was cut down by Riptide, who in turn was ended by Colossus. Yep. Harpoon took a shot at Rogue, but Kitty Pryde intercepted his harpoon, saved her teammate. But it nearly cost the kid, barely 14 years old, her own life in return. Now it's going to be the Marauders' turn, and I always pay those kind of debts. I do that by knowing who I'm up against. So this is definitely like Claremont being able to use like the history that he wrote to his advantage for this story, and being able to go back and like say, okay, this is who I used to face. Now, like, you know, there's going to be a new fight with some new people. Some of them people are not alive anymore. And the fact that he had to fight Sabretooth one-on-one. And again, like I said, this Wolverine's not 100%. And in this fight, he's not 100%. So he's like even more like, ready to go down. But again, that's like with like how a lot of characters are presented, right? Is like against the ropes until they figure out something that turns the tide. I've already dealt with Sabretooth. 1 down, 8 Marauders to go. Arclight, a born fighter who's all about power, throwing punches that make Blockbuster look weak. She was in the Deadpool game, if you remember. Grey Crow, that's his name. Team's leader, covered head to toe with components that he uses to craft any kind of gun imaginable. It is pretty dope. Even though the design is really always looked really weird. Riptide spins faster in a tornado, cutting loose in the process with supercharged spikes that can punch through armor. I mean, it works. He just harpoon hurls explosive harpoons of raw energy. I just got to be honest. I always thought that the design of the Marauders was really just kind of, I don't know, weak sauce. Scrambler disrupts systems, including bodies, can make his opposition feel like they've just been rearranged into the craziest puzzle imaginable. I don't remember him. Prism deflects any energy beam shot at him and sends them anywhere he likes. Vertigo, like her name says, she slams her adversaries off balance. As that the line in that Vertigo game, oh no, I'm gonna get dizzy. Blockbuster, biggest marauder of the bunch with muscles to prove it. But he just looks like a dude. Scott Summers never talked much about where he grew up, especially this orphanage. But this place, those experiences helped turn him into Cyclops, original leader of the X-Men. From the outside, to the plain eye, looks normal as can be. Only I never look at things with just my eyes. I use all my senses. Smell, hearing, taste, touch. Makes following trails easy, even in the most secure of facilities, which at first glance, this isn't. All I have to do is follow my senses. Just follow my nose. Gotta say, it's been a long time since I've had this much fun. Okay. It's nice to hear. Advantage of being officially dead. People see me, sure. They just don't quite remember the details. I think that's a thing, too. Yeah, it's a side effect of the X-Men's death is that they're like, you can't quite place them. It's weird, but it's convenient, right? It's a convenient thing, but cool. Like, it's a cool way to, like, write it off, right? And those memories tend to fade, lickety split. So, like, you're just not a very, like, you leave kind of a no impression. To machines, though, cameras, I'm just not there. But not every plan turns out quite the way you want. And that's another thing I forgot. Oh, that's right. It's been a long time, man. It's been a lot of comics. Hey, Blockbuster. We got us an intruder. I'll take care of him. These folks have never seen this outfit. Until I pop my claws, I guess it's hard for him to make any connection of my get-up to me. Life is tough. What? Like I said, muscles to spare. Smarts, not so much. So this is also him talking about how, like, when he was Patch, right? He could just kind of blend in. And as long as he didn't pop his claws in front of the wrong person, a lot of times nobody knew who he was. It was a good time to be an anonymous. And he's just kind of reiterating that here and how his training, because that's what Claremont did in this, because he set up like, okay, how am I going to do this believably? Okay, well, he's going to not use his claws. And he's got to train, and so we did that too. So far, yeah, pretty well structured. Grey Crow, someone's breached the bunker. We're under attack. Blocks down. So are Prism and Vertigo. So you use the wall to take all three out. I have a beat on him. Snicked. Oh, seeing me is one thing. Nailing me, another. Well, cat's out of the bag. Ching! Oh, shit. He's sending the spear. The harpoon to that dude. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Punch him right in the face. You won't take us so easily, freak. Once my winds sweep you, nothing's happening. But that's impossible. I read that a little too quick. Hey, he's spinning fast, so I read fast. Not when you weigh as much as me. Don't matter. So what if I can't toss you away? It just makes you an easier target for my shuriken spikes. Wanna bet? Even with my training, I still have my limits. I can't keep this up for long. Gamble is, I won't need to. So then he just sends them all flying back at everybody. Great. Before I run out of gas, I'll finish the job I came here to start. Hi there. Remember me? Who's next? So he stuck him, drops him, right? Because they're not taking it easy on these guys. I knew reports of your death were too good to be true, little man. Want a job done? You have to do it yourself. Yep. Grey Crow, we need help. You telling me the Marauders are no match for the Wolverine? The mutie killed Riptide. I'll do the same to him. When the time comes. Everybody, listen up. I have an idea. Scram, we're going to mess up the little guy. My power will throw him off, totally off balance. What good'll that do? Then you'll warp the freak's perceptions of self. Not simply his sense of who he is, but how he fits together within himself. Trust me, we take him by surprise, he'll be helpless against us. Listen to her, fool. Marauders win when we fight as a team. Whap. Right now, the Wolverine's totally focused on Arclight. He won't see us coming till it's too late. We hit him as a team with everything we have. We make sure he can't get better. He dies this time for real. You hope. I like it. He's alone. Like I said, we face him, fight him, end him. As a team. That's how we win. How's this feel, sucker? Can't dodge a harpoon when you can't see where it's coming from. And trust me, you look so much better this way. So they're all dogpiling on him now. The mutie feels all this, right, Scram? It ain't just pretty pictures. Pal, as far as he's concerned, this is as real as it gets. Jesus. This one's for Riptide. Guys, if we're going to do anything permanent, we better do it now. Look at the mutie. For all Scram's done to him, he's already starting to heal. Like the blades are coming out his mouth. Holy God. Nothing to worry about, Harp. Every living thing has its limits. We're showing the Wolverine his. Jeez. It'll be the last thing he'll ever know. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Cocoon. Oh, my God. He is taking punishment in this book. I mean, that's what he does, but Jesus. That's your best shot? But what have we here? Looks to me like you punks are in for a very rude surprise. I killed Sabretooth a while back, which I've never done before. This is why. I wasn't fighting the real deal. Only one of Mr. Sinister's cheap imitations. Just like the rest of you. You slugs are basically Sinister's toys. Boss snaps his fingers, you do as you're told. One of you gets killed, he just pops out another copy to replace you. In your time, at his bidding, you've done a lot of damage, slaughtered a lot of innocents, including folks I care for. Here and now, once and for all, for you and your boss, this is where it ends. Next, truth hurts. So, okay. All right. Okay. Stop sharing the screen. There we go. All right. So that's where it ends. All right. Again, very cool. We set it up at the beginning. He's training. He's doing his Rocky thing in the woods. Talking to us about what he's got to do, bringing up like his adamantium. Again, that was brought up in the Ben Percy book we just talked about, when he's stuck underwater and how he has to deal with, movement and fighting and learning. All right. He talks about how he almost lost to a clone of Sabretooth, acknowledging he's not 100%. He almost still went down. This sucker took out his eyes, but he learned. He knew how to fight without, sight. Now he knows he's got to fight a bunch of people at the same time. So Claremont has him training and talking, using the story about his adamantium and the way he used to fight as a way that we know he's going to be able to use in the fight against the Marauders. But then he has the Marauders, right? So that they're not just pushovers, right? They start talking like a team, doing things like a team. Wolverine has had his plans even when he was fighting Sabretooth and they didn't go right. He has a plan here. They don't go right. They get some things against him. They do some terrible things to him in this. And it's all set up really well by Claremont. Again, knowing the characters, knowing the history of all this stuff, knowing how to hit those beats. We don't even see Sinister in here. And then the plan is like they've got him, like he's still like they've messing him up. And here he is showing them now. Like, this is your place in this. They didn't even know. They're clones. Some of these people died. Remember, he talked about that in this issue that like Colossus took dude out. And guess what? You're still here. Now you're dead again. Guess what? There's a bunch of you in these tanks, and it's your boss that's doing it to you. You aren't even you might not even be the real you. You are just disposable to this guy. And now he's giving them an option like, hey, here's all these tanks. Let's end this. Now he's going to probably have to fight them, or maybe not. Maybe they'll join in, as a bit of a rebellion against Sinister. And what better way to lure Sinister out than having something like this happen? So I think that this is actually a really good way is there. I think that's the real Sabretooth, and he's just cloning off of there's a half-made guy, and I think that that's what he's using to make even more clones of Sabretooth. So I think, again, and just the quick writing, the art, again, this is not like changing the world or anything, but this is just a fun story, filling in the gaps, again, like Madripoor Nights did, but giving me stories that I didn't know I wanted, taking me back to that time period. And Chris Claremont's writing is still there, and with great art still behind it. There's no reason that if you're a Claremont lover, this is a must get. So that's my thoughts on the rest of that story. We'll be swinging back. And again, I had never read it before, and I'm just really happy that I got another great issue. Will it be able to keep going in issue number 3? I don't know. But we're going to end it here and say, if you liking, again, what we're doing here on the channel and you made it this far, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell for all notifications, especially my channel. You might want to be notified because I can be a little erratic in my content creation. Right now, we're on a roll. All right. So expect more comic content. The next thing that I'm talking about on the channel is going to be Wolverine Revenge number 2. So keep a lookout for that as we keep going down and talking about Jonathan Hickman and Greg Capullo's little contribution last year to the year of Bub. And it's still going. And hopefully we'll get issue number 4 before I get back to talking, before I finish Wolverine Revenge number 3 and all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, like I said, and keep reading comic books. Be good to each other, and we'll see you in the next video, bub. Bye. Let's fucking go. Ba 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 bum. Ba bum 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 bum.